great day.
So obviously that wasn't me. Shout out to my colleague Amber who filmed that for me because my intros are usually very, very awkward. I'm working on it. This video today is actually a collaboration with EJ Kafooples, and it's going to be all about report writing and my tips for report writing. Now, I was really lucky with the way that I came into having to write reports and teaching and being on class. I had a very supported entry into report writing, you could say. When I first started teaching and my first instances of having to write reports, I was team teaching on two different classes. Team teaching with both of them meant that I got to see what they were doing and how they did things and how they worked, how they gathered their data, how they used their data to organize their report comments, how they spoke the different ways, and they were completely different. So it was really interesting and enlightening and supportive to see that. I'm very, very lucky that I had that. Then I went into writing my own report comments when I had my own class, and now I've had a couple of years of doing that. I do have some of my own tips and things that I've developed that have worked for me. So my first tip is to keep a bank of report comments. There's no need to reinvent the wheel every single time you write a report. Obviously, you're not going to copy verbatim. That's just not right. There will be things that are the same when it comes to the students. Every single report should be individual, but having that bank of report comments means that you can draw from, if I had a student who was, I'm trying to think of one of my report comments that I've just written. What's one that I've just done is I've had an occupational therapy program happening within my classroom to develop the handwriting skills of the students in my class, and in previous years I've had that. There's no use writing that comment 50 different ways for all the different students that you're going to have throughout the years. I have one sentence that has worked in my reports, if that makes sense. Keep a bank of the report comments, go back, think about the things that could be used for those students, and that'll make your life a lot easier. That's my number one tip. Number two, use a Word doc. Type things into a Word doc before you put them onto whatever system you're going to use it. I cannot count the amount of times that Central has crashed, had weird flicky things going on with it, not saved the things. Plus side of typing it on a Word document is you have a backup. If something happens, you have that backup. Tip number three is to collaborate. We're all in this together. I don't see why there would be a point of just trying to lock yourself away, type your own reports, edit them yourself, just be in this little box that no one else is there to help and support you with. I currently have a beginning teacher as my grade partner at school, and she helps me as much as I help her. So I've been giving her a lot of advice and tips and things and on how things work. But sometimes she'll say a sentence or something that, she'll say these awesome things that work in my report comments as well. So and as I said, when I first started teaching, I was team teaching with an AP and another teacher, and collaborating with them has helped me be as successful as what I am at the moment with writing reports. I think I do pretty well when I write my reports, so I'm pretty proud of it. Number four is, if the school gives you what we call our report writing Bible, if your school does that, which I think most schools do, use it. We call it the Bible, but with my school personally, we have the Bible that says, this is how we do it, this is what the expectation is, you say this, this is common mistakes that are made, and this is how we want it to happen in our reports, what we want it to say in our reports. Use it. Have it next to you while you're sitting there writing your reports. Use it. Number 5 is pace yourself. Don't leave it to the last second, and don't try to do everything all at once, because you are going to burn out. You're going to stress yourself out. Have a goal to write 5. I know at my school, we write 1 comment for each KLA. We have a bunch of check boxes for for attitudes to learning, and activities and things like that, and commitment to learning. And we have a general comment. So we have a lot that goes into these reports. And if you leave it all to one moment, or try to do it all in one day, you're going to, I would explode. I set a goal to do 5 general comments, or 5 of this, or 5 of that a day, over time, and it just seems more achievable to do it that way. Number 6 is to keep all of your assessment records in the one place. It's so frustrating when you go to write your math comments and you haven't got your math paperwork with you. I mean, I keep all of my assessment marks or assessment records, not the actual assessments themselves, but my assessment records, I keep them all in digital format on my Google Drive. That way it's always accessible to me. Number 7 is to have a clear head when writing reports, and this one can be a pretty funny one, but it is extremely important. By having a clear head, what I mean is, if you've had a crap day at work, if you've had a student that's just given you one of those days and they've constantly been chatting back, and you've just had one of those days, don't go home and write their general comment, because that is going to be the most, can't even think of the word for it right now, but that's not a shining example of your ability to write an unbiased comment. My tip number 8 is to rest, to make sure you get through the whole process of writing your reports, to make sure you get sleep, to take breaks throughout. I bargain with myself. I say, do 3 comments and then you can go watch this show and then come back. Or I do that, and it makes it more achievable for me. You need to have breaks. You need to let your mind rest. You do it with the students. You give them brain breaks at school. You need a brain break as well. Your brain cannot just keep going and going and going. It eventually is going to tell you to stop. Or you're going to fall asleep at the computer. Number 9 is to start with the harder things. So what I do is I find general comments, I find general comments probably the hardest comments to write. So I start with them first, get them out of the way, and do that. I also, I tend to do this little thing where I'll look, because I have the classes across my school generally are composite classes, so I've only ever had 3 4s or 5 6s. So when I go to do the comments, if I have a look and I've got 15 year 3s and 10 year 4s, I'll do my 15 year 3s first and my 10 year 4s second, because it just seems more achievable. I'm tricking my brain. I'm still doing the same amount of reports, but my brain thinks that I'm doing less. So it works for me. And number 10, my last tip, is to ask for help when you need it. My principal and the exec team at my school always, they start the report season off by saying, if you need help, let us know. And no one is here to trample on you and make your life harder. So if you need help, ask for it. Don't let it come to that moment where it's the last day, the reports are due, and you're trying to get it all done and your head just feels like it's going to explode. if you need help, ask for it. So there's my 10 things. Thank you for watching my video. I'll put my little outro next. I hope all the tips that I've given here are helpful to you when you're writing reports. I know it's a bit late because I'm sure your reports are due within the next couple of days. Good luck writing your reports.